Hatito, hakui sila simamo, niwe sila simamo kwa kila, nila holewanaka, nila yooma, Eastern Shawnee Tribe of Oklahoma, Meow Meow, Oklahoma. How are y'all doing today? What I just said was, hello, how are you doing? My name is Holewanaka, and I'm from the Eastern Shawnee Tribe of Oklahoma, from Miami, Oklahoma. And so, what I'd like to talk a little bit about today is Eastern Woodlands culture and traditions, as well as a little bit of music and how it contrasts with the Western tribes. Now, you might be a little bit more familiar with the Western tribes, which is fine, and those would be the people that you see on the plains. Wearing the leather and living in teepees, hunting buffalo, riding horses with the war bonnets, and that's fine. That is oftentimes what the media chooses to portray, simply because of the fact that that was very, very common and it makes for a very good story. However, it's not the complete story. Now, the Eastern Woodlands tribes, you notice I'm wearing a lot of cloth. I'm wearing a linen ruffled shirt. I have a wool match coat on. I'm wearing silk ribbon around my neck and in my hair. I have silk ribbon adorning my breech clout and my leggings as well, with wool and glass beads here and leather moccasins. I'm also wearing a neck knife around my neck with glass beads and tin cones. And so these are some of the things that might be common to Native folks in the Eastern Woodlands. And when I say Eastern and Western, what I really mean is the Mississippi River. Anybody east of the Mississippi River is considered Eastern. Anybody west is Western. So there's a very definite difference between the tribes and how they work. And of course, there's 567 federally recognized tribes in the United States today. And that's about half the number that it used to be. So there's no way that everybody can be lumped into different categories as groups of people. Everyone's an individual, and that's kind of the way that we view it. So everyone has their own culture and their own traditions that is unique to them. Now, when we talk about culture, what I mean is the way that people live, and of course the way that people, their food, the way that they speak, the way that they interact with one another. So as far as food goes, when you look at the Western tribes, they hunt their food. They are the ones going after the buffalo, with the spears and bows and things like that, and they're taking down those big, huge, massive bison. And they are bringing them home. They're making their homes, their teepees out of them. They're making their clothing. And of course, that's their food for a little while. They don't grow anything. They have to follow their food around, which is why they live in such impermanent housing. For us Eastern Woodlands people, however, we live in very permanent settlements with big walls, large wooden houses, and we grow our food. So we've been farmers for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, long before Europeans ever arrived here. And so our societies are very democratic, which means that we make decisions by voting on them. We have elected leaders, just like the United States does today. And as a matter of fact, that's where the United States got the idea for their government, was from the Eastern Woodlands Indians. And so we do things a little bit differently. And when we look at dancing and music, normally when you think of Native people and music, you think of powwows or something of the sort. Well, really only one tribe is supposed to have powwows, and that's the Ponca. They were the tribe that invented that, and they were the ones, that was their ceremonial dance. Well, for just about everybody else, they didn't have powwows. Powwows are only done by one tribe, and that is more the exception than it is the rule. Now, when we look at modern day powwows, however, when we see people dancing today, that tradition started in the 1800s with you looking at the Wild West shows with Bill Hickok, where people would come and buy tickets to come see Native people and buffalo and all these other things that weren't common. And so they had to put on a good show. That's where all the flashy things come from. That's where all things that look good on TV and in the movies and westerns come from. And so that's a lot of where the difference is between Western natives and Eastern natives. And so for us, we don't have powwows, and we only do our ceremonial dances during certain times of the year, and we have very different songs and of course different language as well. So you heard a little bit of my language earlier, and then of course I have here a drum from my culture, which is a water drum. You can see it's very small. It fits right in the palm of my hand, but it has a very big sound to it. It's filled with water, and it is called a water drum. And so the water inside vibrates, which makes the sound. just like that. And you can change the tone by adding or taking away water from the top. This is just a piece of deerskin, and this is a cedar drum container here. So I'll give a little bit of an example of what these songs sound like. And that's what we call the duck dance. That's a very, very, very short segment of it. These songs have lots of different verses, very, very complex, and we are actually saying words in those. And so, you know, when we use those songs, we're making friends, we're talking about stories that we've had, you know, those are passed down from generations and generations. So some of these songs, we believe, have not changed, literally word for word, since the very beginning of time. And so those are very important that we keep those going and keep those sung the exact same way. Otherwise, we've lost what we originally started with. And so just like with another instrument here, which is the flute, this might be another familiar instrument to you. Of course, this is done in the Eastern Woodlands style. This is a cedar flute, and this is made in two pieces. And so it is cut in half, and then the center is bored out, and then you can start to drill holes here and make your instrument. Now this was used for finding a mate. This is used for courtship. And so once a man found his wife, he would put this flute away and he would never play it again. And only certain people were able to make flutes and play them. But this is kind of what they would sound like. So that is what the Eastern Woodlands flute sound like. Everybody had their own different flutes. They were all different. They were all unique and had different sounds. So I hope this was a little bit of an insight into how we operate as a people. And when I say as a people, as an Eastern Woodlands region. And so we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different ways that things are done, languages, everything about Native people is different. When you ask 15 different Native people about drums, you're going to get 200 different answers because everyone has their own way of doing things. And that's what we think is so special. Nyahweh.